So this is a video to talk to you about the importance of some of those tempo workouts that you will see as time goes on. And I've used this workout a bunch of times for a couple other examples, and this time we're going to actually back things up a little and use it a little differently. So this is a sweet spot workout with some surges built into it, right? And on itself, the sweet spot level style of this workout is a great execution of a sweet spot workout. You can see here I've highlighted our sweet spot zone, and this athlete has stayed in that zone, in that band, pretty much the entire duration for those intervals. They do go out of it a little towards the end, but that's not the end of the world here. But now what you're going to start to see is this phase down here. This is our tempo phase. This is an area that triathletes and some cyclists love to stay in all the time. All right, tempo is great. We actually need to learn how to ride at tempo, yes, but it's very critical when we employ these tempo workouts in your plan. If we're riding tempo all winter long and like we're crushing the trainer, we're doing Zwift workouts, we are doing Zwift racing and racing all the time, what you'll actually find is you're going to be spending a ton of time in your tempo area. And that's going to do a number of things. And just to sum it up really quickly here, there's a lot more science behind it, but you're going to really struggle putting out FTP efforts or threshold efforts later on in the season for extended periods of time if you only know how to and only sit in your tempo wattage band. That's because it changes the physiology on your system and it taxes it a little bit differently. Okay. If, again, let's go back to a triathlete example, if you're only sticking in that tempo effort levels on your rides, you're going to feel great, you're going to be ready to go, right? But the second you go into a race, if you go out of that tempo zone, think sweet spot area, FTP area in the race, most times you're going to struggle to be able to absorb that effort, whether it's 1 minute, 3 minute, 5, whatever minutes before you settle back into your comfort zone, right? And that's also going to overinflate your FTP a little bit, okay? Which will, of course, put different targets and false positives out there for you, really. And that is a big, big indication of a big problem in the sport of triathlon. A lot of people that are self-coached only sit in that tempo area, and it's to their detriment. So when we do have these tempo workouts, you want to stick with those tempo areas. You're not going to see a ton of tempo early on, right? But as the season progresses, then we're going to start to throw some tempo blocks in there for you, absolutely, for sure, right? But avoid sitting in there all the time. If you are racing there, that could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I don't know enough about you just to make a general video. But if you're always there, then bad things will happen to your progression later on. And if you think of it in terms of a bigger stance, right, over time of years, then if you're always sitting in that tempo block, what you're actually going to be doing is hampering your upper limit, and that is going to only bring your FTP further and further down, whether that's 20, 40 an hour of your FTP target, right? That's only going to bring that wattage number down over the course of the years because you can only ride at one effort level. You're going to be taxing yourself a little bit more. It's going to be harder to absorb some of those training rides, right? And just the list goes on. So avoid always sticking in the bad zone. We used to call the bad zone the gray zone, the point in between endurance and recovery, right? If you sit too much there, and everyone kind of took that a little to heart and just skipped the endurance zone, and they actually went above that, and now they love sitting in that tempo area. So avoid that for athlete progression throughout the season.